So now we're going to start the praline biscuit. So we're going to take our butter that's at room temperature and we're going to cream it with the sugars. So both the white and the brown, we're just going to pop them both in the machine. You could do this by hand as well if you wanted. I'm going to mix those together until they're nice and smooth. I'm not looking to aerate it, I'm just looking to cream it so that I'm convinced that they're completely combined and mixed together. Next thing you need is 25 grams of egg. I just took a whole egg, whisked it quickly, and scaled out half of it, really. A whole egg is too much for this recipe, so don't go over. Turn that up a bit just to make sure it's nice and mixed. It's hard with such a small amount in the machine. I'm going to give it a really good scrape down. And mix it one more time. Once it looks all smooth in one even color, we're going to add the egg. I just want to give it just a quick smush here. I've got some hard bits of brown sugar. Good. Now I'm going to stir in the egg. Just going to give everything a quick scrape because it's a small amount. It tends to hang out on the bottom of the bowl. There we go. Now it looks like one smooth dough. I'm going to add the praline paste. I gave it a really good stir and made sure there was no chunks in it before. So you want to really give it a good stir and then add it to your mix. So this is going to give these biscuits a really hazelnutty flavor and a bit of a caramel hint. So let that cream in. It's almost all combined, but I want to give it just one quick scrape. Make sure everything's off the bottom. Make sure it's all going to be nice and smooth. Check the paddle for any bits of butter. Great, that looks really nice and smooth. So now I'm going to add my flour and I'm just going to tip it all in at the same time. And now I'm just going to put that on speed 1 and let it stir together. And when it's about halfway done, I'm just going to scrape it down, get everything off the bottom. Just while that's finishing, I'm going to get myself a sheet of parchment and a rolling pin. Perfect. So my dough is done. It's all come together. I'm just going to push the KitchenAid out of the way a little bit. So clean up the paddle the best you can. One quick scrape for your dough. Make sure everything's all mixed in really, really nice. It's all smooth in one cohesive color. And then what I've got here is a piece of parchment that I just folded in half. I'm going to drop my dough right in the middle there. Then I'm going to take the parchment and I'm just going to fold it over top. And I'm just going to press it out a little bit. And then I'm going to pick up my parchment, flip it over, and check the back side. Again, just going to press it out quickly, but look for wrinkles. If you have any wrinkles, just pick up your paper and then put it back down. Then what we want to do is we want to pre-roll this. So I'm just going to roll it with my rolling pin, and every time I roll, I put pressure from the middle to the outside, but when I bring the rolling pin back, I don't put any pressure on it. So from the center to the outside. I'm going to go back and forth a couple times. Then I'm going to turn it. I'm going to do the same thing again. Don't put a lot of pressure on the edges of your dough. As you turn your dough around, that'll even it out. You don't want to bump the rolling pin over the edges, otherwise your edges end up being very, very thin. And you just want to take a quick look and see, do you have any wrinkles forming This side seems okay. Oh, but I have a nice big one here. So I just want to lift up my paper and give it a stretch and put it back down. I don't really want any big wrinkles or cracks in my dough because that'll be a piece that I can't use. So give a quick roll. We want it to be about 5 millimeters thick. So it's not super big, it's half a centimeter. But you don't want it to be too thick either, because then somebody's fork won't be able to go through it. A little bit of a wrinkle there. Want to just fix that before I put it in the fridge to chill. So give it a bit of a stretch. And just one quick roll with the paper, with the rolling pin on the paper. That'll even that out. Now, depending on when we were going to use this, we would either put it in the fridge or the freezer. So pop it into chill, and we'll come back to it in a bit. So our praline biscuit has had a chance to chill in the fridge. I just want to give it one more quick roll just to make sure it's nice and even all the way around. So I'm just going to do that between the paper, even out any thick spots that I might have had. There we go, that looks pretty good. Now all we want to do is I want to peel the paper back off the front and then flip it over and peel the paper back off the back. Okay, and so now I want to organize it and I want to cut circles out of it. So what I'm cutting is 2 1/4 inches, and I want to use the straight side of the cutter. So I just want straight, small circles. And I'm just going to cut as many as I can. When you're cutting, you want to line it up so that you have the least amount of waste possible. When you're rolling scraps, you don't want to use as many. The dough is always best on the first roll. So if you can line it up so that you're minimizing the amount of waste you're creating, you'll get nicer biscuits every time. There we go. Okay, I'm just going to slide that forward, get out of my way a little bit. Then I have a tray lined with parchment, and so I just want to transfer those circles onto my tray, but you want to be really careful that you're not stretching them as you pick them up. You want them to stay round. They're not going to spread very much, but you don't want to put them right on top of each other. Okay, so we're going to finish that, putting them on the tray. Then we're going to put them in the oven at 320 degrees, and we're going to leave them there for 5 to 10 minutes. We want them to be nice and dry on top and not soft. I don't want them to be golden brown though and hard. I just want to make sure that they're nice and soft, and that when I take one out of the oven that it's going to firm up. So we're going to pop those in the oven, and we'll be back in a minute. So our biscuits have come out of the oven, and you can see that they're nice and dry looking on top and just really lightly golden, just really, really pale. When you take them out of the oven, they'll probably feel just a tiny bit soft in the middle, but as they cool, the sugar will firm up and crisp up, and then they'll be crispy. So don't be deceived if they're just a tiny, tiny bit soft in the center. If you see that sort of pale golden happening around the outside edge, that's how you know they're done.